Welcome, everybody, to Fergo and the Freak. My name is the Glorious League Freak. This is episode 157, and we have a very special guest today. We have clinical psychologist Annie Clark to join us to talk about how to best cope with the social isolation we're dealing with. So, thanks for joining us, Annie.
You're very welcome. Hello to all the listeners out there who are socially isolating.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's different levels. I don't know how socially isolating yourself you're doing it, but I am like in the bunker. I haven't left the house for...
Really?
Yeah, I've gone full on. I've gone like
full isolation.
Yeah. I was ready for this. I was kind of waiting for some sort of world event to just give me an excuse to just disappear.
So you're one of those doomsday preppers.
Pretty much, yeah.
So basically, you were right. Everybody who called you crazy before is now saying, you know what, League Freak, you were right all along.
Pretty much, yeah. And like the joke's on them.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, the reason that I got you on is because obviously you're a clinical psychologist, and I've been seeing the things that you've been tweeting, and the things that I have been talking to a lot of people about recently, they've all felt the same. There's obviously the boredom aspect to it. Their sleeping patterns are out, but they're still tired no matter how much they sleep. They're eating poorly, all that sort of stuff. So I thought we'd get you on to talk about maybe some of the ways that we can combat that and keep ourselves healthy over the next couple of months, because it seems like it's going to last a couple more months at least.
Yeah, well, hopefully not too much longer, but I definitely have some tips to help keep people sane.
Mm-hmm. So what's the first tip you've got?
The first tip is to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So the first thing is because I think a lot of people have gone off the rails because they've lost their routine. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to still be able to have a set routine, even though you are home isolating. Yeah. To, for example, go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time.
Yeah, and Is it a good idea? Because obviously a lot of the routine people normally have, a lot of it we don't have to worry about anymore. Is it a good idea to set things like still set your alarm on the morning, still look to go to bed at the same time every night, just even if you're setting a routine that doesn't really matter too much, but to still have that in place? Try and get your sleeping patterns under control, because I know mine are completely out of whack right now. When this all first started up, I started having naps during the day, and I found that ruined my sleeping patterns completely.
Well, yeah, it does. If you nap during the day, you're not going to feel tired at night. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not tired at night, then you're going to stay up later and later and later. And, if you're going to sleep at 3 a.m. and waking up at 2 p.m., that doesn't matter if you don't have to do anything, but it matters for sleep quality. Mm-hmm. That you get the best sleep quality around midnight and afterwards. Okay. And also it helps your mood if you can see sunlight. The people who don't see enough sunlight can start feeling depressed because it doesn't seeing sunlight actually releases chemicals in your brain that make you feel good.
Now, that it's interesting you say that, because I wasn't getting outside early on, and I felt like it was affecting me in a really weird way. And so in the last probably week and a half, I've been going outside, making sure, and like just getting out there, just having a look around. I'm not really doing anything outside, but I feel like it has had an effect just getting out there and getting some sun on me.
Well, it does, because not only does it stimulate chemicals in your brain, but it's also good for vitamin D. Mm-hmm. Vitamin D makes you feel good, and also it gives you less of a feeling that you're trapped in jail, or that feeling like and you can't leave. You know what I mean? It's okay. Even if you just get outside and look outside, it's like see the trees and the sky and the birds or whatever. It gives you that feeling of freedom, and it's a lot healthier for you.
Yeah, and it's funny because it doesn't feel like much, but it kind of is really important. Like all these little things seem to add up. So what is the second thing on your list that we have to do to keep ourselves sane?
The second thing on the list, and the most important thing I think, because I'm so passionate about it, is getting some exercise. Mm-hmm. So it's not just important to get outside and stand there. It's also important to get outside and move. So it doesn't have to be strenuous exercise, although the more strenuous, the better. It can be as simple as walking around the block, going for a run, because gyms are closed, so obviously you can't go to the gym.
Yeah.
But, do body-weighted exercises such as push-ups, sit-ups, squats, just anything to get the blood flowing, and that will release endorphins and serotonin and just lift your mood and help you sleep better, and also burn off any stress chemicals you might have.
Now, one of the weird things that I remember when everyone went into lockdown at first, everyone said they're going to work out, get fit.
Yeah.
No one's done it. Absolutely. Well, some people have done it.
No one. I still run, but I'm not. I'm not busting out any weight training exercises at the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a home gym or anything.
Look, I said I'm just going to I use hand weights. I was going to get my hand weights and just hulk out the whole time. I haven't touched them. It's terrible.
I think because what you have to acknowledge is that with all the changes, people feel quite overwhelmed and quite stressed, and the reaction to stress is to kind of do less because your body's like, I don't feel like it. I just feel like lying in bed and watching Netflix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's so like you're almost going back to your comfort zone because I think that's one of the things that hasn't been acknowledged by a lot of people. There is a layer, even if you're coping really well with all this, there is a layer of stress there that is on top of everything, and it's really easy to want to just go to your comfort zone. And as you say, sit down, watch some Netflix and things like that.
And that's fine to do, as a reward, but you don't want to be doing that all day, every day. You don't want to be lying on the couch, stuffing Doritos down your face, watching Netflix for hours and hours and hours on end.
Have you been watching me?
Yeah. Yes, I have a camera in your house.
Oh, jeez.
Get out.
Okay, so make us all jealous. Tell us how far you normally go for a run.
Well, I'm not going to make you jealous because basically I normally just go for a run around Centennial Park, which is beautiful, and it's about 7 Ks, so it's not like I'm running 50 Ks a day or anything. And I don't even do that every day, and I also have my time periods where I binge watch Netflix and eat ice cream. To me it's a balance. To me it's saying to yourself, you're not going to do all exercise and eat healthy, or else go the opposite and just only watch Netflix and binge. Have a bit of a balance.
Yeah, it can't every day can't be a boot camp for you. It just wouldn't
no
work.
way. Yeah, no. Because another thing is people think, well, what's the point? It's not like I'm training for anything.
Yeah.
And you can't date. I mean, well, you can, but it's hard.
Yeah. Look, I know for me personally, I like to do 8Ks over the course of a year. So you're 7Ks. Come on. 7Ks today.
I know. I need to pick it up.
So what is the next thing that you've got on your list for us?
Okay. The other thing is eating well. So when people are stressed and during this time, they want to feel comfort, and so they tend to comfort eat.
Yeah.
So what that looks like is, chips, ice cream, chocolate. And, while I think that's great every now and again, you just don't want to be doing it every day because it just affects mood. So getting enough fruit and veggies, lean meats, things that are going to boost your mood.
And I guess cutting down on snacks all day. I felt like early on, the first thing I did was I started eating a lot, and then I cut it right back. And then I realized I was basically snacking all day, and I started cutting that up a bit. And since I've done that, I felt way better, and I've actually been losing a little bit of weight. I didn't have much weight to lose, but it's, the scale's going in the right direction now, whereas early on they were not going in the right direction.
Yeah, you're putting more buttons in your belt
Yeah, exactly.
and holes in your belt. Well, yeah, and it's not just about weight, it's also about mood.
Hmm.
If you eat too much junk, you just feel really flat and,
Mm.
you know, um, the more vitamins and minerals you can get, the better for your mood and also for your immunity. And during this time, I feel like it's important. That's what people focus on.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so what's the next thing on your list?
The next thing is very important. It's staying connected to family and friends.
Hmm.
And like you said, there's a lot of isolating going on.
Hmm.
And if you live on your own, that can be harder than if you live, say, with flatmates or you live with your family or so it's really important that people stay connected through, phone, chat, email, video calling, podcasts, you know,
All that sort of thing, yeah. Like
that.
I know personally, it just happens to have been the case with me where I've been talking to a lot of people lately, and a lot of it's the podcast, a lot of it's people that I've met through the podcast and things like that. And there's been a lot of podcasts that a lot of people have jumped on and we've been like, let's record a podcast. Didn't get to record a podcast, but we've had like a good 2-3 hour chat. It's been great.
Okay.
And yeah, that's one thing that I think it would be really easy to fall into the pattern of like, where you realize, oh man, I haven't actually talked to anyone for 2 or 3 days now. And especially having to stay at home for a lot of people, it could go downhill really quickly with your mood if you fall into that sort of hole a little bit.
Well, yeah, because especially like introverts don't mind. Introverts kind of enjoy their own company, but extroverts get their energy from connecting with others.
Mm-hmm.
And if they go too long without speaking to people, they tend to be a bit depressed. The other thing is that when you're home alone, you're only left with your own thoughts. And if those thoughts turn dark or negative, then there's nobody there to kind of talk you back out of it or sort of, challenge your negativity or give you a different perspective.
Yep. Look, I've got a friend that I talked to about this, and I noticed from talking to them that because they weren't able to keep that busy, that they kind of started going in that direction a little bit, and they recognized it, and then they basically had to force themselves to be busy with stuff that didn't really matter, but that being busy kept them from sort of going around in circles in their own head to a certain extent.
Well, yeah, because you need to distract yourself, and that's why exercise is good, because you can distract yourself through exercise. But it's also things like reading a book, doing a crossword, cooking. A lot of people have started cooking again. Gardening, like just simple things that you can do around the house.
Yeah. Is there something that you've done that you've picked up that you don't normally do that's a bit different?
Well, interestingly, I've been super busy at work, so I haven't really had the time.
There you go.
I think, I've had to kind of, support my clients through this difficult period because, as you can imagine, anxious people become more anxious, depressed people become more depressed. Although some clients are actually doing better.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some clients, I spoke to a lady today, and she was always stressing about Centrelink contacting her for job requirements, job searching and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, oh, I feel a lot better because they're not hassling me anymore. And I was like, okay, that's good to hear. And, she'd actually reduced her alcohol intake and was keeping more in contact with family.
Oh, that's really interesting. I mean, I guess you don't really think about it, but I guess there are some people where, modern day life doesn't quite suit them, but something like this, it's just like they thrive in it. I mean, I don't really know anybody that thrives in this situation at the moment. I don't know anyone that's really gone off the rails too much either, but I guess there are people that are like, man, this is great.
Yeah, well, it's a very simple life. Like a lot of people enjoy the simpleness of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've found though the clients that are doing the best are the ones that have still been able to work, that have still have had some kind of work.
Yeah.
It's usually working from home, but have still been able to kind of maintain that. That's been helpful.
Okay. So what else have you got on your list for us?
The other thing is to avoid binge drinking alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So some people cope with stress by, drinking a lot. And I think that, interestingly, the bottle shops are still open, but the gyms are closed. So.
Kind of weird, isn't it?
So what is the government trying to do here?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I just wouldn't advise drinking alcohol every day, because alcohol is a depressant, and even though people have more time on their hands and they don't have to sort of be up early the next day, so they might be tempted to, drink more. It's just not good for anyone.
Yeah, I know that when this all started, I was like, I'm going to get some, and I'm not a huge drinker. I'll drink. I tend to wipe myself out once or twice a year, and that's it. I'm not a big drinker. Yeah. But I was tempted to get alcohol in the house early on. I was thinking, no, just wait. And I've had 2 beers over this whole time. I haven't gone. Yeah. So, but yeah, I can see where some people are probably using it as a coping mechanism, and it's got to be really destructive, especially with the social isolation on top of that.
Yeah, it really is, because it's a depressant. So if they're binge drinking every day, they're just going to feel more depressed, and, they're going to have poor sleep. It, destroys your liver. It actually ruins your immunity. So, in the case that they do get it, if they do catch the virus, they've got the less chance of surviving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it just pulls people under.
Yeah, it's weird. That's the weird thing about all of this, is it feels like there's lots of little things, but together they compound into something that can just drag a person down without them knowing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think some people are lucky in that they can feel them signs early on, whereas other people aren't so lucky, and they just don't have that awareness that they're starting to fall into some really bad habits. And that's why I wanted to get you on to talk about these sorts of things, because, as I said, I've talked to a lot of people about it, and they've all sort of recognized that something's going on that is not great for their health.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been talking about amongst ourselves. So yeah, it's fantastic to have you on. One of the things I wanted to ask you, obviously this lockdown is going to be lifted gradually, but do you think that we're going to see people having maybe some issues readjusting to life as it used to be? Like, do you think that it's not so much going to be a case of, you flick the switch and you're back to your old life again? Do you think that some people will find it difficult to readjust to things being open again?
Yeah, I do. I think the biggest adjustment will be having to go back to work, because a lot of people have been able to work from home, which is a lot easier. When you're working from home, you don't have to battle traffic. You don't have to do your hair and makeup. You can literally roll out of bed and work in your pajamas. It's just easier. It's just easy working from home. So I think, one, people will battle having to go into an office or get out of the house and go, back into that rat race of the traffic and the, catching trains and buses, and it will be quite confronting. The other thing is that there's people that have had to change jobs, and that's an adjustment. But I do think it will happen in stages, that initially it'll be quite hard to kind of get back into the rat race. But then, over time, obviously, things will get back to normal. But hopefully, because two things that have come out of this that I think are really positive is that people are focusing more on family and more on their health.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if people can keep those two things when this passes, then that would be a good thing.
Yeah, you can it's a good base to build off, like going forward with all of our lives. So it's almost like you've got to restart everything. It's going to be kind of strange, but yeah, I guess the good thing is because it's going to be in stages. The government's going to open up things gradually.
Yeah.
There will be a slow adjustment rather than them saying, "All right, you can all come out now." It's just
well, the other thing is, I think that there's a group of people that are like chomping at the bit to get out. I reckon the minute they open like restaurants and bars and clubs, that there's a percentage of the population that are going to go nuts. That they're going to like party like it's 1999.
Yeah. Is there something that you're like, man, I just cannot wait till that's back?
Yes, I cannot wait for a girls' night out.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't wait for the gym to open again.
Okay.
I'm going to turn into like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Just going to be absolutely jacked in about 8 months.
Yeah. I'm going to be ripped.
That'll be great. Well, I'm going to start lifting my weights,
Yeah. There you go. You better keep up.
For me, the weird thing is the thing I'm looking forward to doing the most is going to the fish markets in Sydney and just.
Oh, really?
That's it. Yeah, like just getting
having what?
Soft shell crab. That's the thing I want to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like.
The oysters?
What's that?
The oysters?
I'm not a big fan of oysters. Hey, like I don't mind oyster mornay and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of oysters normally. But just like fresh fish and seafood and stuff like that, I'm dying for that. Like, oh man,
that'd be
thinking about it. Yeah. So yeah, like it's. Oh, the other thing I wanted to ask you about. All right, you're a Rabbitohs supporter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rabbitohs.
Yeah. Now the season is going to start up apparently on the 28th of May, which is great news.
Thank the Lord for that.
Yeah, we're all desperate for the footy. How do you think the Rabbitohs are going to go for the rest of the season?
They're going to kill it.
Really?
I'm assuming that they've been training hard during this period.
Yeah.
Because they're bunnies and they're competitive little bunnies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to kill it. I mean, they've got, a great coaching team. They got Greg, they got Sam, and they got some new talent. So I feel like they're going to nail it.
I'm really interested to see because I wasn't happy with how Latrell Mitchell was playing in those first two games, but he's got to learn the position a little bit, he'll get there. He's a great player. But I'll be interested to see how players and for the Rabbitohs, especially him, because he's getting into a position which takes so much work, I can't wait to see how he comes out of this break physically, because I think it's going to be really interesting to see. There's going to be some players who will have just gone absolutely crazy at home working out and stuff, and then other ones that will have put their feet up and done the league freak thing. Watched a lot of Tiger King. Did you watch Tiger King, by the way?
Oh, loved Tiger King.
Oh,
it's the best. How hilarious is that guy?
It's crazy. I've been saying to people like the weird thing about like how crazy is that show? There's a 3-way gay marriage, and it wouldn't make the top 10 weirdest things you see in that show.
Exactly. And did you see the funeral when he was like talking about the kid's balls and his mum sitting in the front row, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how did you do that? So cringy.
And then he started singing.
Oh, but he thinks he's so good.
Yeah.
And Carol Baskin, do you reckon she killed her husband?
Yeah.
For sure. I reckon she should be in jail, not the Tiger King.
Oh, man. I think they should all be in jail.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I just wanted to know what happened to the Tigers. I mean, have they been released? Or I assume that they...
Well, did you watch that extra episode that they put out?
The which?
They put out an extra, like, when they did the first episode, the first, like, I think it was 6 or 8 episodes, they put out one about a week ago that was a follow-up with a lot of the people in it. Did you see that?
No, what did it say?
It was basically they were doing interviews over Skype, basically, with a bunch of people that would have been in it. And it was really funny. The guy that did it was really funny. And they talked about how the tiger farm that the Tiger King had was going all right and stuff like that. But yeah, it was really good. You should watch it. It's something that's I didn't know how good it was going to be, but it was really funny actually hearing people talking about their experiences after the show had been put on air.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope because they were building that new tiger farm. Did that get built?
No, I believe what happened is they put that on hold and they just concentrated on the Tiger King's previous farm and just upgrading that and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. I tell you another thing that you can watch too. There's on Stan. There's a series. There's a show with Louis Theroux on it, and he actually goes to talk to that Tiger King guy, and it was done years ago, and he seems a bit more calm. Hey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like Louis Theroux's programs.
Yeah, so do
But
I.
I think, interestingly, they said the Tiger King was a meth user, so clearly his use got worse and worse and worse as time went on, and I think that's why he became a bit more sort of crazy and manic.
Yeah, it did seem that way.
And
like when
his husband lost his teeth.
Yeah, he lost all his teeth.
Oh, he looks so bad, as if he doesn't have enough money to fix his tooth.
You know what? I should. Okay, I'll tell you. So in the follow-up, in this last episode, they talk to that dude, and he's got new teeth, right?
Awesome.
Teeth look great. And they say to him, like, why were you always without a T-shirt? And he was like, well, I just got new tattoos, so I thought I might as well show them off.
Show it off.
Oh, it was fantastic. Oh, man. So, yeah, a new episode of Tiger King. That's something to watch while you're eating your ribs tonight, hey?
Yeah, thanks for that tip.
All right. So, where can we find you? And you've actually got a website and you've got a fitness video as well.
I do. For all those people who need some training tips for their at-home workouts, I have a weight training DVD called Weight Training, Getting the Body You Want. They can buy that off eBay. Just do a search of Annie Clark Fitness. And my website is annieclark.com.au. I have a practice in Randwick. So people can book in if they have a referral. And, I'm happy to take new clients, although it might be a while before I can book them in because I'm quite busy. But, yeah, I mean, I'm happy for people to email me as well, anniefitness@hotmail.com. If they have any questions that they want answered. And also, just for people who need like immediate support, a reminder that they can call Lifeline on 13 11 14. And also Beyond Blue has a coronavirus mental wellbeing support service. Which is 1-800-512-348.
Awesome. And you're also on Twitter as well. See,
I am Annie Fitness. Yeah, I'm less of a psychologist and more of a comedian on Twitter.
Yeah. For people that don't know, me and Annie have been following each other for, man, it's been years and years now on Twitter. And yeah, like your Twitter feed is a lot of fun. So it's a bit different on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, I love your sense of humour. So thank you for keeping me entertained over all these years.
Oh, no worries. It's I'm just glad you haven't blocked me yet.
Yeah. I'll never block you, Leg Freak. I'm pretty hard to offend.
That's fantastic. Why would I be offensive? What are you talking about?
Well, I know. That's the only reason I'd block you.
All right. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on. I was really happy when you said you'd come on and talk about this. It's something that is a little bit different for our listeners because it's not really related to rugby league at all. But it was something that I thought would be pretty cool to add to the podcast, and it's maybe something people can have a think about in their own lives and how they can maybe just lift themselves up a little bit while we're all going through this, because we're all I know we're all separated, but we all are going through a similar situation. So thank you so much for giving us some things to think about.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me on.
And thank you to everyone for listening. We'll be out with a new podcast in the next couple of days, so we'll talk to you soon.
Ciao.